It is extremely important to me that the stories we share are authentic and that we strive to tell both perspectives. I've been a local to this remarkable island 3 times and a tourist too many times to count. Our Home Your Holiday celebrates Aruba. There's a reason why Arubans are so patriotic, and there's a reason why visitors keep coming back. Let's dive into the elements that makes Aruba our home and the perfect holiday. Welcome to Our Home Your Holiday. I'm your host, Yenta Liu. We've heard it before, we need to protect bees from becoming extinct because we need pollinators. The busy insects pollinate our fruits and vegetables, so they are very important. Good thing to know that there is sustainable beekeeping happening across this island. Let's take a closer look. Meet Dan Barrows, a self-taught beekeeper. Before bees became his friends, Dan had been in the culinary industry for 16 years when he decided to venture off to something completely different. He also had to figure out how to fit beekeeping as a profession on an island. He couldn't be a commercial beekeeper with 2,000 hives, and he knew he didn't want to be a backyard beekeeper. Shortly after figuring out the logistics, Dan and his wife, Rose Barrows, founded Eco Living Aruba in 2018. They have 21 hives across the island with a waiting list for others who want to join the hive, so to speak. Developing a more sustainable Aruba is part of the company's mission.
What's very important for us is we do ethical beekeeping. So we only take 60% of the honey from the hive. We also only take a certain amount of wax from the hive as well. It takes 5 pounds of honey to make 1 pound of wax, so they use a lot of energy for that. So learning all those things and seeing how I can fit it into a business model, it took time. It took a lot of mistakes. We went kind of different paths in terms of like what products to sell and everything like that. But it's just a matter of trial and error. But what was very important was passion. You have to have a passion for it. You have to have a passion for what you're trying to achieve and also show that's possible on the island.
Besides avoiding being stung by a bee, there are many layers to being a beekeeper.
The complexity is very complex, a lot more complex than people would think. Also, they each have personalities, different personalities. So some hives are they work very hard. Some hives just have a bad attitude or bad mood, just kind of like people, which I think is very interesting.
We are here at Eco Living Aruba today to learn more about beehiving and bees in general. Behind me, there are 5 boxes that were all handmade by Dan. And if you see right here, there is smoke coming out of here, and there's a reason for that. The smoke is to disrupt the bees' pheromones. And why do we want that to happen? Because we are about to open up one of these boxes so we can get a closer look at the bees' home. Eco Living Aruba offers tours to locals and visitors across the island to get a very close look into the bees. At the location we are at right now, there are about 10,000 bees inside the boxes. Dan is going to give us a close look at the bees hard at work.
You have to be very slow. And definitely do not crush any bees because that'll just set them off. We'll walk over here a little bit. Let's see if I can find the queen. There she is.
The queen is twice as big as a worker bee, and she's the only one who can lay female and male eggs. Typically, in a beehive, there's the queen, workers, and drones. Worker bees can also lay eggs as well, but they can only lay male eggs. Reason why the queen is so important.
When wax is made, when it's brand new, it's white. And up here, that's nectar, the shiny stuff. So it's actually going to be honey. All this is also nectar. Now there's 2 different size cells. There's the bigger ones that hold the nectar and honey, but also it's for drones. And the smaller ones are for the worker bees and for pollen. This is all pollen in here. You can see the stuff that's inside the cell. It's like orange and yellow. And honey is the perfect food. It can never go bad. There's actually bacteria and yeast in it that's good for your stomach. And if you have allergies, it's great too, because there's a little bit of pollen in it as well. So in a hive, there's both pollen and nectar. Pollen is called bee bread, and the nectar is kind of like their power shake per se. So it's got a bunch of different nutrients in it.
Besides for honey, pollen and nectar, the bees produce another very important ingredient.
So this is all honey, wax with honey on top. So this probably, and also what's cool about this, that's why I want to open it. This is propolis. So this is tree sap that they collect to sterilize the hive. And now what we do is we have alcohol, and we put this with that alcohol, the propolis, and we get propolis tinctures. And with that, we can use it in our products. So all this propolis, instead of throwing it away, it's medicinal. It has the same properties or healing effect as aloe. It's antibacterial. And if something dies in the hive, let's say like a gecko, or let's say a cockroach or something like that, and they can't get it out, they'll just entomb it in the propolis, and that sanitizes it so it doesn't have a smell, it doesn't attract other pests.
As Dan mentioned, propolis is an ingredient used in Eco Living Aruba products. On the next episode, we will dive into all the ways how the busy bees produce natural properties that are useful for products for people. Make sure to tune in 7:30 p.m. next Monday night right here on Channel 13 Talaruba if you want to check out all the goodness that bees produce for products for humans. Now, is there something that you missed during the hustle and bustle of the holiday season? Maybe there is a special tradition or celebration that you promised yourself that you will participate in next year. Well, there is one tradition that you cannot miss that originated in Europe, but it's much more advantageous to practice the tradition here versus in the country that it originated in. Let's see why. In the Netherlands, Nieuwjaarsduik, meaning New Year's dive, started in 1960. As seen here, no matter how cold it is, people take part in this tradition. At least 25,000 people plunge into the freezing water each January 1. There are over 60 locations in the Netherlands where you can jump in the sea or lake. With a strong Dutch influence on this island, Moomba Beach has adopted this tradition. Wearing the Unox hat is part of it all, as well as eating some hot, delicious Dutch pea soup afterwards. Dries says the tradition is special, it brings people together, and it is sentimental to the Dutch natives. All in all, a great way to kick off the new year.
So we make a big line in front of the beach, we rope it off, and at 12 o'clock the signal goes and everybody starts running towards the beach to get in first. There are also DJs at that moment, the bar is open, the party. In fact, after a little sleep after New Year's Eve, continues again at 12 o'clock, New Year's Day in the afternoon, and goes on until late in the evening again.
Aruba basically has all the same elements, such as the hat, the soup, the swimmers, but of course the water temperature is as lovely as ever here, so there's really no excuse as to why not take that New Year plunge. Aruba has a population of about 110,000 people. There is a Facebook group that has 115,000 members and counting from 50 different countries. Every single day, people from around the world and locals are engaging in different discussions about the island, whether it is the beautiful sunset or sunrise, fantastic restaurants, real estate, the roundabouts here, and so much more. Let's get a closer look into this inner digital world that centers around the island. All Things Aruba is a Facebook forum where first-time and repeat visitors, plus locals, engage in conversations relating to the island. Questions are posed, experiences on the island get shared, people ask for recommendations, and so much more. There's constant activity on this page every single day. David Seltzer is the original creator of All Things Aruba, and he lives in Boston. He's been coming to the island for more than 30 years with his family. 8 years ago, David was looking forward to yet another trip to Aruba and wanted to get excited about it.
It was about 6 weeks before a February trip to Aruba, and I was bored, and I just wanted to discuss Aruba with other people, other like-minded people.
The goal of the page is to bring people together. When tourists visit Aruba, you often hear comments about how the locals are so warm and friendly. Well, the hospitality of Arubans is not only felt in person, but online as well.
It's really making the connection between the tourist and the Aruban. That's what's really important to us, because the Arubans are what makes our trip to Aruba so great, because as we all know, everybody is so friendly and so happy, and it makes for an enjoyable time in Aruba. And Aruban people are so helpful. Roughly 25% of our membership is Aruban now. I mean, that's a lot of people for a small island. And when tourists ask a question, the Arubans are the first people to answer it. And you know, when people from Aruba are answering the question, they're doing it from the goodness of their heart, the goodness of their head. That there's no ambition other than helping people. And I just think that's the greatest part of what we do.
2 people oversee the daily activity on All Things Aruba. Administrators of the page approve every single post before it is shared to limit spam and clutter as much as possible.
But that's the beauty of having somebody like Laura helping me on the page. She's been with me a little over a year now, and she is just so full of energy, and she is just so tapped into Aruba. She owns a little gelato shop at La Cabana.
Let's venture down to that shop and pay a little visit to Laura on All Things Aruba. Her first trip to the island was in 1991. Within the last 2 years, Laura became a permanent resident on the island and became the second admin on the popular Facebook page.
It's like a home to me because it's since 1991 I came here, so it feels like a home, and now I've made it my home. And the people are just incredible. It's a beautiful place. It's a safe place. Very important. I've traveled to many other islands, so I can now say that I love it here.
According to Laura, the feedback and comments from the residents of Aruba are integral to the success of the page.
Well, years ago, it was predominantly tourists and no locals. And now, believe it or not, we have thousands and thousands of locals who have joined, and they really do contribute a lot. There's many questions that, for example, a lot of people don't know how to maneuver the roundabout. So then you'll get a ton of the locals coming in and say, don't forget your flicker. You got to do that. Like, they really contribute to the laws. No shells, leave them on the, don't touch the sea light. Like, they really contribute a lot to things that I myself have learned through them.
It's quite a bit of work for only 2 admins to manage an online group consisting of more than 100,000 people, and it continues to grow. It is almost a full-time job, but they both truly enjoy running it.
Other than my grandchildren, nothing gives me more joy than this page. And to see that I get 2,000 birthday wishes on my birthday, when it's posted nowhere that it's my birthday. Aww. So it gives me such joy that I'm attached to all these people. And when I go to Aruba now, I mean, this is the funniest part, that I'm recognized. And hey, aren't you the All Things Aruba guy?
It is time. You need time. Yes, it is time consuming, but you have to love it, and I do love it. So.
And why do you love it?
Because I love Aruba, and I love people wanting to learn about it, talk about it. They have questions, and it never gets boring for me.
Laura says it doesn't seem like the page will be slowing down anytime soon. Do you still get more members every day?
Yes, constantly, every day. Just like Aruba gets new visitors every day, we get new members every day. It grows and grows and grows. So it's a wonderful page. It's a happy place, and we keep it that. We keep it a happy place. Non-political, non-religious, all things Aruba.
Every time I check the page, there are more members. It is incredible. David and Laura mentioned they charge a nominal fee for advertising, but they do contribute 10% of the earnings to local charities. Make sure to subscribe to YouTube if you'd like on-demand access or weekly updates on Our Home, Your Holiday. We are also on social media. And tune in Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. for new episodes right here on Channel 13, Tell Aruba. We'll see you Monday nights.